What's up, everybody? I'm Eric Hansen from Backpacking TV. This is my lovely fiance, Christy. We just went on a backpacking trip to the desert. We have been testing a bunch of new gear, and we wanted to run through the Osprey Aura 65-liter women's pack.
Aura or Aura?
Aura. I just wanted to say it fancy.
Aura.
Aura?
Aura.
So this is the Osprey Aura 65-liter women's pack. This is one of the main packs that you'll see on the trail. Very popular women's pack. Christy, you used this on a recent backpacking trip. Can you give me kind of your initial thoughts, and then we'll dive into the details?
I'm gonna be completely honest. The first moment starting to put it on, I was not very confident. The first day did suck. I had rubs and bruising on my hips really bad to the point where I unclipped it the rest of the way. Shoulders were fine. I didn't have as much weight in this as I normally do in my other 65-liter. So the fact that I was hurting with less weight was a little bit of a disappointment. So I think those are my biggest complaints about this bag. And I figured it out the second day. I didn't carry it the way I would normally carry a large 65-liter backpack. It carried more on my shoulders than I would like to let up on the hips. I ended up figuring it out the second day, how to wear it to where it didn't hurt me every second. But there are a lot of things I do love about this pack.
Comfort as a general category is super important to talk about with any backpack. And like we've seen with other backpacks, this may be body dependent.
Yeah, absolutely.
You being uncomfortable in this pack might not mean that other people with different body shapes and sizes are gonna also be comfortable or uncomfortable in that pack. This kind of contouring hip design,
I do appreciate this back part. The back part was perfectly fine. It was these,
the front part of the hips.
And you can even see while we're trying to maneuver it, they're very stiff. Maybe they'll break in. If I gave this pack more time, I might love it more. Even when I was throwing the pack on, to get these hip belts around my body, I had to like wrestle with it for a little bit.
Because they kind of want to stay closed in the closed position. So the hips were not a win for you. And then you had a lot of complaints about this part right here, where this kind of protrudes.
It hit my shoulder blades in a weird way. Whenever I would move my arms, my shoulder blades would knock against this part right here.
Yeah, there are extra points of contact right here, and those definitely bothered you pretty much
right away
within the first mile.
Yeah, I was like, we need to fix this. Whatever this is, we need to make this different.
And I think we had this fit just right. The length, everything, the straps were at the right adjustments. These points just bothered you. So not exactly a ringing endorsement on the comfort, even though I think generally speaking, Osprey packs are considered to be comfortable packs, but you've been using the Bridger packs mostly, and you've loved them.
I have, and I have used, their packs at the 65 liters and full. This, when I hiked with this, it was much less weight, and it was far less comfortable for me.
So comfort, it kind of wasn't the best for you. So that's comfort. Let's talk about other design elements. Things like how you get at your zippers, how the pack overall feels in terms of use, utility, getting into things. How do you feel like it did? I
enjoyed it. I thought everything was pretty intuitive. I actually used some of these front pockets more than I did on any other pack. Not this one, but the zipper.
Okay.
So like this little zipper pocket on these sides.
Show me those. Let's open up this front pocket.
Yeah.
That's kind of like a jacket stash or maps or whatever. And then you were using these. That's interesting. I actually like that.
I actually really liked those for my snacks.
I didn't know that was there. That's cool.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty neat design.
I actually really love the way they do their top zippers. The ease of the zipper, I actually feel like it's not too curved to where you feel like things are gonna fall out the sides.
Yeah.
I actually really like that.
So there's also, I don't know if you even use these, but the side entry.
I liked that you can get in
Yes.
from the outside front instead of having to go into the top.
To me, that's a critical feature.
This is actually one of the best things any backpack could have,
Yeah,
in my opinion.
totally. And it's actually on both sides. So there's this side, and then another one
Glorious.
over here.
Brilliant.
Did you forget that you packed that
I've been
in?
looking for this.
And then you've got your bottom compartment here for
Yeah.
getting in and out for your sleeping bag.
Yeah, this feels just like more difficult
Go ahead.
with these corners, especially if you have a little bit of a thicker sleeping bag in there. It definitely is tougher. I know I had to like really wrestle this in to get in here. It was like,
This is probably my least favorite design that Osprey has, pretty much across their whole pack line. The curved zipper. I feel like it's problematic. It makes you wrestle, it's harder to zip, and then it's the highest likelihood point of failure on any backpack that I'm aware of, because you have awkward tension points that hit these corners of the zipper. So you have all this stress that's here and over here, and they'll fail after, I mean, it won't fail like probably in your first season, but if you have this backpack for 5 years, that's probably where it'll go first. And you also have the ability to attach sleeping mattresses or tents or something like that, bulky things on the outside. And then you've also got your attached rain fly, which is included, which I like that. We didn't need it. It was the desert. It was very dry, but I like that they're included.
hidden compartment. I really like that.
And you can, yeah, and you can take it out if you know that you don't want to backpack with it, so you can lighten the load, or just keep it there because inevitably you'll use it at some point. How about fit? How easy was it to get fitted?
Oh, loved that. Loved that.
You can do it yourself while you're wearing it.
Yeah.
So that is exceptional. That's a really nice design.
Mwah, chef's kiss.
With Mystery Ranch, I do like the systems, but you are kind of guessing at how the torso length should fit you. And then you just have to do it 3 or 4 times and
Yeah.
hopefully you get it close enough. But this, you can dial it in exactly right while it's on you. So
Loved that.
the first time we put this on, we had it fitted for you exactly right within about 2 minutes.
It was fantastic.
That's pretty cool.
It was fantastic.
Yeah. Airflow is stellar.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the other best features of Osprey.
We tested these out in the desert. I felt like I did not sweat as much as I could have.
Yeah. Sometimes
And
when
you
you're
could
wearing,
feel the air.
Yeah.
You could feel the air coming through here. It was really nice.
Sometimes when you're wearing a backpack, it feels like you're wearing a jacket and it's very hot. And because of the lack of airflow, so it's like an insulation for your back. And typically you want to let that puppy breathe. So that's nice. Definitely like that. The Osprey Aura weighs 4.6 pounds and retails for $340. So in my mind, 4.6 pounds is fairly heavy, but you will see that in a pretty standard spectrum of these kinds of backpacks. So from Gregory to Osprey to Mystery Ranch, a lot of the main makers of this kind of backpack, that's like 4.5 to 5 pounds is pretty common. So that's the ultralighters out there, that's way too heavy. They will scoff at a pack being this heavy, but you get a lot of comfort in return, supposedly, at least theoretically. And that 4.6 pounds is common. And $340, that is also kind of the high average, I would say. It's not the most expensive pack on the market, but it's certainly above median. So in my opinion, who this backpack is for is the Aura is a nice backpack for pretty much a full spectrum of female backpackers. I think intermediate backpackers, it's a good backpack for, and people who are doing really aggressive trails and want to be out there doing long days on the trail. It's a great backpack. Now, it's not as light as you could go with some of the other ones, and if you were really doing tons of mileage, I would maybe push you towards a different backpack or a lighter backpack or something that was maybe just a little bit more comfortable than this backpack. I wish that you had been more comfortable. I'm kind of surprised that you were as uncomfortable. I thought that you were gonna like this backpack. So the fact that you didn't was, I mean, you like what you like,
Right.
but the shoulder is what really surprised me. I thought you would do well with these, but this is very different. You've been using the Mystery Ranch Bridger, and they have a lot wider shoulder straps. and it really distributes that weight really well. And I think that that's what you were expecting. And then this was different and not as comfortable. It didn't distribute the weight nearly as good.
Which I think the shoulders, I definitely got used to. My hips never really got used to these.
And they don't lie. Do you have any final or parting thoughts?
Besides my hips disliking this pack, overall, there's a lot of amazing elements to this pack. Some just didn't work with me.
Pretty much everything else about the design is actually really nice.
I don't want to be biased just because it didn't fit my body well. So
it's important to note.
Yeah.
You weren't super comfortable, but you liked a lot of other elements to the pack.
Yeah.
And I think that's really what it comes down to. You could have been more comfortable, you wished you were more comfortable, but other parts of the backpack design and experience were positive.
Correct.
If you have questions or comments and you have a question specifically for Christy, just leave them in the comments below and I'll shout to her while she's in another room making amazing art or something like that, and she'll answer. So that's it from me. This is Christy.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah,
Thanks for listening to me.
This was fun. Absolutely. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you later.